So I never really talk about this kind of stuff. Well, I do, but I don't. The reason why you see me share or react to a lot of videos about mental health awareness or suicide prevention or whatever, because my dear friend sends me a lot of these videos to react to, because that's how we became friends. Is because she was on a live that I was watching, and on that live, she was talking about her struggles with mental health. And something told me to reach out to her and befriend her, and I did. And we've been friends ever since. So it's been about, I think, 3 years now, because this was in the height of COVID and while my husband was downrange. And we've been great friends ever since. We call and check on each other. If one of us is struggling, we call the other person. But I've dealt with mental health issues for, I feel like, forever now. And it only got worse while in the military and deployed. I lost 6 people on a deployment. That deployment forever will change my life. I met some of the best people I could ever have met in my career. And I was very young and new into my career at that point, because I had only been in the military 3 years, I think, at that point. And one of the best people I've ever met, who was an Army soldier, happened to be on my team and became like a brother to me. He died on that deployment. And that was probably one of the hardest experiences I ever went through in my life. Seeing him one day, because another person died before him, and he was one of the team leads for another team. So they needed someone to replace him as the lead. So they asked for volunteers, and my brother, Keith, volunteered to take his spot. I didn't feel comfortable with that, because where they were operating was super dangerous, and it wasn't something I was okay with. But he really wanted to go, and my team lead said, if you want to do this, I'm going to let you go. So he went. Something happened, and he died. And I just had saw him probably 2 or 3 days before, because he came down to turn in some stuff to the headquarters. And he said his famous quote that he says to me all the time, because our routine before we would go out on missions is to watch Grandma's Boy. We watch Grandma's Boy every day, because that's what his favorite movie was. And I'd be like, Keith, can we not watch this movie? But we'd watch it before every mission. So it got to a point where I knew the movie by heart, because he wouldn't start it from where we last watched it. He would start it from the beginning all over again. So before he left, he said, don't judge me, monkey. Now, anybody else who probably heard that would be like, that's racist. But if you've ever seen the movie, you knew what he was talking about. And that was the last time I saw him. So when he passed away, I reached out to his family, and me and his mom became really close. I sent her any pictures that I had of him. We made her a book, and I talked to her often. It got to the point where I talked to her almost every day while I was on that deployment. I would tell her things that I never even told my own mom, just because I felt so close to her. And she was the reason why I opened up to my mom about a lot of things I went through in my childhood that my mom didn't know. Because Pam said, in case you don't come back, don't leave this earth carrying all that weight with you. Tell her everything you ever wanted to tell her in case you don't come back and you don't get the chance to tell her again. So I did that. And then when I got back from the deployment, me and Pam would talk almost every day. But the time difference made it hard for us to talk almost every day, because I was in Japan and she was on the East Coast. Well, Pam struggled a lot with Keith being gone. And when it was almost a year to his passing, she couldn't take it anymore. And Pam reached out to me beforehand, and I wasn't home. So I didn't get to talk to her. But she wanted to tell me bye. And I carried that weight with me for so many years, that I wasn't there for her, that I didn't pick up that phone. I blamed myself for a long time. It took me a while to realize that it wasn't my fault, and that I may have been able to stop her, but it may have only been temporarily. Because when people haven't made up in their mind, sometimes there's nothing you can do to change their thoughts or their mindset. You can maybe only stall it. But if you can show a person that they're needed and loved and valued in this world, that may be what keeps them around. So, this is why you see me advocating for mental health. This is why you see me talking about it. This is why you see me reacting to the videos about it. This is why if you ever have a conversation with me, and I may not know you, but I bring you in like I know you, that's why. Because in case no one else tells you, or because no one else shows you, I want to be that person that gives you a reason to keep fighting or swimming. In the way I like to say, I like to tell people, keep swimming. I want to be a reason that you don't give up. Because there's so many times I wanted to give up. And then I remember Pam. And then I remember what that was like for her family. And I don't ever want to put my family through that. And I don't want anybody else's family to go through that. So whatever you're going through, whatever dark time you may be in, remember, it's just temporary. That pain is just temporary. In her case, she may have felt pain for a while, but it wouldn't last forever. At some point, she would have found a reason to smile again. At some point, she may have been able to see Keith in the sunrise and sunset. But you have to find the good within the bad. And remember that this path we walk on, there's going to be times where we trip and fall. But it's about how we get back up. And that pain of you scraping your knee when you fell, that's all temporary. We can't make permanent decisions based off of temporary situations. I love y'all. Love, peace, and fish grease.